Hello, my name is Anastasis and I'd like to welcome you to my Painting Delight show. In this show I'm gonna try and teach you a fantastic method of painting called wet on wet. We're gonna paint landscapes in a very short period of time. We're gonna use only a dozen colors and some brushes, and I'm gonna really show you how easy it is to make fantastic pictures. And I'd like to make today a very easy painting, probably with a nice blue sky, some decent hills and a couple of nice bushes and trees. So I'm gonna take the large brush, the twins brush, and I'll go into some phthalo blue, and I just tap the bristles into the paint, and in that way we achieve a nice and even distribution of color into the edge of the bristles. And I'm gonna start up there and make X's, little crisscross strokes, and I have already put the liquid weight on the canvas. Very thin and even coat is all that's necessary, and as you can see my color is getting lighter and lighter down towards the base, and I suggest you use crisscross strokes for that because they're easier to blend. A little more paint up there, and you can keep going to bring the desired softness to your sky. And now very lightly I will go above the sky and take out the brush strokes, and that easy we have a fantastic sky. Now I want to have a little water in this painting, so I'm gonna take the same dirty brush, I'm gonna take some more phthalo blue and also a little bit of phthalo green into that. We load both the sides of the bristles, and we start from the outside in, and we're using flat horizontal strokes because we're gonna paint still water. And we try to make these strokes as straight as possible. We start from the bottom and we go to the top. And I'll try to leave a sheen of light in here. It's like some lights playing through the water. And now very lightly we'll go across our whole lake, and we always have that little sheen of light going on in here, but very lightly. Alright, I want to put some clouds in the sky, and for that I'm gonna use a fan brush today, and I'm gonna load it with titanium white. We really need lots of paint for that. We use titanium white, and as you can see the bristles are full, and now using just the corner of the brush we make circular patterns, and as you can see very easily we have a basic cloud shape, little more white, and you can put as many or as few clouds as you want in your world, and make sure you keep going. Do not stand in just a specific spot and make circles. Now with a clean dry twins brush I want to blend just the bottom of these clouds. And having the liquid white underneath really helps us blend the paint. We do not touch the top yet. Now very lightly I want to fluff the clouds, so we'll just make big circular strokes, but very lightly. And very gently just go across and remove the brush strokes, and we have two fantastic little clouds very soft and they're just playing around and having fun in our sky. But I really want some clouds on the other side too, so I will continue using my fan brush and my titanium white, and I'll go up here and just make another cloud. I'm gonna blend this one, and as you notice, I scrub my brush against the paper towel in order to remove excess paint from the brush. And just by blending the bottom, fluff it up a little bit and very gently go across. And at easy we have already the sky, the water and the clouds, so I'm gonna leave this brush aside. Now I'm gonna I want to make some decent hills in this painting, and I will try to layer them because I want to achieve depth in this painting. So I'm gonna use the titanium white, a little bit of sap green and a little bit of midnight black, and we're just looking for a grayish green color, and we're not using much paint for the time being. And we start with a lighter color first, and as we go forward in our painting we use darker color. So I'm gonna use the oval brush, gonna load both sides and just tap the brush into the paint. Now we have to decide where we want our foothills, and I will start from here, and it's okay to go above this cloud. This adds depth in our painting. And we want some nice foothills here and there. Now we have just another layer of foothill. Right now I want to create mist at the bottom of this foothill, and I will take a large brush and just go on the bottom and tap firmly. You can probably hear how firmly I tap my brush, and because we have liquid white underneath, the color is blending and it's giving us a very nice mist effect. Now we lift lightly, remove the brush strokes, and we have a very nice decent foothill. Now in order to add depth to our painting we need a little bit darker color underneath this one, so I will take my same color and I will just add a little bit more of the green and a little bit more of the black, and you decide the value of the color. A little more green for me. Okay. I'm gonna use the same oval brush, but you can use whichever you want. You can use the 1-inch brush, the 2-inch brush. I just believe that the oval brush makes very nice curvy foothills. Now I will come from here, and I want to save this little misty area because this is our separator. A little more color. And you can add as many peaks as you want, and just refill this nicely. And if you can see on the top of these foothills, it seems like we have some far distant trees. It's very nice. It adds a little bit of interest in our painting. Now I'm gonna use a light brush again and try to make mist. This is very easy. I think it's the most appropriate one to paint for our first episode. I really hope you enjoyed my show. and I'm really looking forward to be asked any questions and listen to any of your advice. Now very lightly we'll go across again. And that is, you have another layer of foothills. Now I want another one layer because I want to push this back, so I'm gonna take the same colors. I'm gonna add a little bit more black. I also threw some dark sienna in there by mistake, but it's okay. Some more black, some more of the sub green, and this is much darker. Probably a little bit more of the black. And we are right on spot. Let me clean my knife. Now always using the same brush, the oval brush. It's a really underrated brush for me. It's very nice, creates fantastic effects. Now it will come from up here. A little bit more paint. And we always try to save the mist in here because this is our separator. There we go. And we just fill this in, and you decide the shape and the color. You could use different color from me, but it's okay. And right here I'm gonna make a peak that really pushes this one back. You don't know what's behind. Okay, now I want to show you a trick. Because this one is pretty closer to us, I'm gonna take a 1-inch brush and lift gently upward. As you can see, we're having little streaks that are probably some trees and some bushes that are very, very far away from us, but still close enough to see them. And make sure you lift straight upward. And that is it. We have lots of nice little trees. Gonna mix this one again. And we really push firmly. That's why we need a sturdy easel. My easel is made of galvanized iron. I have a couple of nails that hold our canvas steady. And it really is a very nice invention. Lift upward, and we have finished our foothills. Now I want to come to the foreground, and I want to have some trees, some evergreen trees, some bushes, and for that I want to mix a big pile of dark color. So I'm gonna clean this spot. So let's use a little bit of black. I will go in here. A little bit of black and Prussian blue. A little bit of Van Dyke brown. And a little bit of alizarin crimson to that. And also some sub green. And we mix these colors nicely on the palette. Now I want to have some indications of bushes. We always use the shadows first. We paint the shadows first, and then we come to highlight them with a little bit of lighter paint. So I'm gonna use the 1-inch brush, and I'm gonna load it full of dark paint by pulling downwards. And as you can see, there is a curve on the end of the bristles, and that's really what we want. So let's decide where our bushes live and just roll them in. Really wherever you want them. And we're pushing upward with a rounded corner up. just wherever you want. And you can also save that little mist in the background. I decided not to. Some little bushes in here, a little bit more color. Now, I want to show you how to paint the reflections too, so we're gonna extend that. We're gonna extend our dark paint in here. And you know, while painting you can always change your mind, and I decided I want a bigger tree in here, a bigger leafy tree. So we'll come up here and just throw it in. I'm still using the 1-inch brush. Alright, now, as I told you, I want to paint some reflections, so I'm gonna take the 1-inch brush and I'm gonna pull this down because we have the liquid white on. It's very easy to move paint on the canvas, so I decide where I want my lake. And I tell you something, before you do that you really have to decide the shape of the lake. So if it is to be roundish, I need a little bit more paint on the edges. It's very easy, you know, you can really change your mind anytime. That's what you do with the wet and wet. So I will lift downward. And make sure you pull straight down. I said lift, I'm sorry, you pull downwards. And now very lightly we go across, very lightly, to achieve the watery effect you want. And very easily we have the background color for our bushes and trees. I fill in some spots that are not dark enough. And I also want to have some evergreen trees, so I'm gonna mix a little bit more color in here. All the dark colors actually, blue, black, Van Dyke brown, alizarin crimson, sap green. Because we really need a lot of paint for that. We need to load our brushes full of paint. I'm gonna use a number 3 fan brush for this, and we just load the bristles full of paint. We really need lots of paint for that. And now it's up to you to decide where you want your evergreens. So let's say that an evergreen lives right here. We made the top of the trunk, and now just using the corner of the brush, we go downward. And that's easy. We have a little evergreen tree. Let's make another one. Let's decide for another one in here. And you can really have your evergreens wherever you want. It's really up to you. Just the corner, I start by using the corner and then applying more and more pressure. Let's go over this side and make a bigger one. Just the corner, as you can see, I start with the corner of the brush and I go downward, applying more and more pressure. Let's go over here. I want another one. And all you need is practice. You will really get used to the equipment very quickly. It's very easy to paint with this technique, and I really hope you find my videos helpful. It's very easy and everybody can do it. So as you can see, that quickly we have the foothills, we have our lake in here, we have the bushes and the trees. Now we want to highlight them. And I want to go with the evergreens first. I mean that I'm gonna highlight the evergreens first, then I'm gonna highlight the bushes, so I actually push the evergreens back. So I'm gonna take my small knife, this is a number 5 knife, I'm gonna take a little bit of titanium white and just a touch of the dark sienna, and I want to leave it a little bit marbly. I'm gonna paint the trunks using this color, so I go straight in here and cut off a little roll of paint on the edge of the knife. We always load the knife this way, so we'll go here on the evergreens, and you don't need that much paint for that, and you just pull towards you. It's really that simple. Over here also, and as you go downwards, try and make the trunk a little bit wider by pulling more. And that's easy. We have also made the trunks. Now in order to highlight my evergreens, I'm gonna use the same brush actually. I'm gonna wipe off most of the dark paint. I'm not cleaning my brush, so I will go into some cadmium yellow. And by the time I have dark paint already, we're gonna have a dirty green color in here, as you can see. I also add a little bit of sub-green to that, a little bit more of the dark color I use for the background. Now, in order to stick the highlight on top of the dark paint, I'm gonna thin it down with just a little bit of paint thinner, but very little paint thinner to that, because our golden rule is that a thin paint sticks to a thin paint. And let's decide where we're gonna go first. I'm gonna highlight this one first. The same way you actually made the tree, you highlight it too. Very easily. And don't be afraid if you get some of your darker color on the brush. This is okay, let it work for you. Also highlight this one. And if you have trouble making your paint stick, you can always add a little bit of paint thinner to your brush, but very little amount. Alright, so we highlighted the evergreens. Now I want to put a tree trunk in here. I'm gonna take in some paint thinner with my liner brush, and I'm gonna go into some Van Dyke brown. We really need water consistency paint for that in order to stick. And we load the bristles by pulling them outside with thin paint, and it comes to a very nice sharp point. So let's go on here, and we're gonna have our tree trunk. I know it might not be visible to you right now, and if your paint doesn't stick, just add a little bit more of the paint thinner. There we go. We can also have a little bit of tree trunks in here, just wherever you want them. Maybe in here. Okay. So now I'm gonna highlight the bushes and the trees, and we also want this to be reflected on the lake. So for that I'm gonna use a 1-inch brush, and I'm gonna go into some paint thinner, not very much, and I'm gonna load the bristles full of paint into some canned yellow, and I also take some sub green, a little bit of some green, a little bit more of paint thinner. And we actually load the brush the same way we did earlier to put the background color on, and we pull towards us. So we have a rounded corner, and let's go and highlight this tree. We push very, very gently in order to achieve the effect we want. And as you can see, thousands and thousands of leaves appear that easily. And we use hardly any pressure for that. And always vary your colors. I go into some Indian yellow and do some yellow ochre. Let's go in here. And we try to layer these. We're trying to paint one bush at a time. Let's go in here too. Very nicely, very gently. And don't forget to vary the color. Always with a rounded corner up, a little bit of bright red into this little Indian yellow. And in your world, you can have as many bushes as you want. Now in here, I want to create a reflection, so I reverse the brush and just go in here, and as you can see, we have a mirror reflection. Let's go in here too, another big bush reflected. Let's make a red one. Very nice red bush in here for us. I will return to my yellow. I'll put some sun green into that. Just use whatever colors you want. And as you can see, very quickly and very easily, we have lots of things in our painting. We have bushes, trees, foothills, clouds, and it only takes a moment to paint them. Let's reflect these ones too. Let's go in here in the foreground, a little bit of yellow ochre, a little bit of soft green. Reflect this one. A little bit of Indian yellow too. Now we have our whole lake ready. Now in order to make the reflection, we actually do what we did earlier, but this is a bravery test. We need the lightest touch possible to make the mirror reflection. So I will take a dry big brush, and very, very lightly we just pull downwards, but very lightly. We pull downwards, and really make sure you pull straight down. It's very, very important. Now very lightly, whisper like, go across. And here we have mirror reflections. In just a couple of moments we did some amazing reflections. Now I want something to hold on this. I'm gonna clean this one. I'm gonna take a little bit of Van Dyke brown using my palette knife, load a little bit of paint in the edge, and I will go in here, and just by pulling I'm gonna put a little bit of soil, a little bit of dirt, call it however you want. And this actually decides the lay of the land. As you can see, it's roundish, and it comes towards us, as you can see. Something I'd like to tell to everybody that starts this style of painting only now, it is the way we actually hold tools. As you can see, I'm not putting my finger on the blade. I'm actually holding it this way, and I use my finger as a guide So I go wherever I want using my palette knife, because if I actually hold it like this, I won't be able to hold it stably, and I will actually push the paint on the canvas and gonna make a big mess. I want to have a realistic effect of dirt in here just by pulling. Now I'm gonna take a little bit of the same color I used to make the tree trunks, leave it marble, cut a little roll of paint, and now very lightly, but very lightly, I'm gonna go above this one and highlight our dirt. I'm holding the knife the same way. But very lightly. Just caress the paint, and this gives us actually a rock effect, you know, a marbled paint on top of other. Now I want to move on the foreground, so I'm gonna use a big brush. I'm gonna take this one actually. Now I want to close all this and probably put a big tree over here, so I'm gonna take the big brush and pull it through the paint like I did with a smaller one earlier. But this saves us a tremendous amount of time. We cover bigger areas. Now let's decide where we want bushes. I imagine of a big tree in here, so let's just go up here. And it's okay if you cover the cloud or the foothill or the trees. We know it's there anyway. And as you can see, I can go above other paint without making mud, because our paints are very firm and very dry, and it really forgives us making mistakes. A little bit more paint, and we always use upward strokes when we're making this kind of effect. And do not let your brush slide. We really need to push. We actually push, and we really need these bristles to bend. And you can see thousands of little leaves living in here. I will save the reflection, I like it. Now I forgot to make the water lines in here, so for that I'm gonna take my big palette knife, and I will take just a very small amount of liquid white and spread it nicely on my palette. Pull that very flat and we get across. So we have a little roll of paint on top of the knife, and we'll just come in here and make little water lines. Just make sure that you pull straight. We really need these to be straight. Very nicely. And when you are at home, you can really step back a bit and watch how your painting is going. Take a couple of steps back and decide if you want to change something. A couple of ribbons here and there, and that's easily we have the water lines. So I will carry on with the highlights, and to be honest, I want to put a trunk in here. We really need actually. I will take a little bit of Van Dyke brown on the knife, a little roll of paint, and we'll go up here, and just by pulling a very nice tree trunk. It probably goes outside the paint, who knows. Give him an arm. Very nice. Highlight it a bit with just a very small amount of paint. We touch and pull very gently. Our trees show us that the light is coming from the right. So we want to highlight our trees that way. Very good. And if you mess this one, you can actually go above and fix it a bit. Now I will carry on with highlighting, and we actually highlight these ones the same way we did earlier. We're gonna load some paint and we'll start from the top of the tree, and very lightly, I need a little bit more paint, very lightly go above this, and you can see thousands and thousands of leaves living in here. And leave some dark areas between the leaves, so it's actually it will not make it look flat or anything. A little bit more on here, and let's carry on with the bushes. Don't forget to vary the color. A big bush over here probably. I play through the sap green, the cadmium yellow, the yellow ochre, just wherever you want. I'm leaving a little bit of dark between these two in order to separate them, try to layer them. A little bit of red, a little bit of Indian yellow. And actually I use no pressure at all, I'm just touching. And what I want to advise everybody is, if this doesn't work for you in the first place, don't give up. Practice, watch videos, and make sure you have the right equipment. It's very important to have the right equipment in order to achieve the desired effects. It really takes a lot of practice to master this, but it really is worth it. It's really one of the most fantastic things that have ever happened to me. And as you can see, very quickly, we have a finished painting. I'm gonna take my palette knife and scratch through the dark areas, some sticks and twigs here and there, wherever you want them. And here, we also want some in here. And something else you can do is bring the land and the bushes together. We really need something to stick these. So I'm gonna take the same brush, the same paint, highlight painting for the trees, and I'm gonna come in here, use it sours this time, and we just go above the soil. And it's very easy to mix in here, to mix mud in here. And we really need a thin paint, lots of paint, and a very light touch to bring this together. As you can see, I'm barely touching. We load the brush as necessary, and we are ready. A little bit more of scratching the canvas to make the sticks, and we have a complete painting. I really hope you found this painting helpful. It's very easy to start with. It's a very nice introduction, and I tell you that I really enjoyed that. I enjoy being with you. Until next time, happy painting, take care, and I'll see you soon.